Hi everybody. Honestly, I've been dreading making this video. The last video I came out with was back in the summer when Joe Biden dropped out of the election and Kamala was taking up the reins to lead the Democratic Party. And I was really excited about it. I wanted Joe Biden to drop out. I still don't think it was a mistake. I think the mistake was him dropping out so late after the primaries. But I think Kamala was a much better candidate than Trump, and I was really hoping that the American people would make the right decision. But unfortunately, they didn't, and they reelected Donald Trump. I remember sitting there election night thinking it was going to take a couple days to get the result. And when the results were coming in, I was sad. I was disappointed. Um, there's so much that you could say about Trump and just wonder like how he could have possibly gotten reelected, even if a lot of people didn't like Kamala, which I don't understand. I mean, she was the most qualified candidate for president of all time. She was just the vice president of the previous administration, had extensive experience as an attorney general and a lawyer, and also worked in the judicial branch. She's worked in all three branches. Yeah, really unfortunate about the result. And it's been hard enough following the news, so it's a lot harder making this video, but I don't want to be silent during this time. I want to make clear where I stand, along with giving you the facts. It's not just my opinion. I will share it on here, but I also give the facts and I post my sources. Um, but yeah, this is some scary times in America right now. I'm not confident that our democracy is going to stand another 4 years. That was the main reason why I voted for Kamala. I knew that our democracy was going to be tested, and it definitely is. Um, I believe we're in an oligarchy right now. Uh, between, if you don't believe that, you just need to look at the inauguration, right? You had Elon Musk there, you had Jeff Bezos, you had Mark Zuckerberg, you had the CEO of TikTok. You had all of these CEOs lining up next to Trump. Why do you think the elite are lining up next to Trump? It's because he's part of that elite. He's not representative of the American people at all. He's the exact opposite. It's the elite versus everybody else. And somehow this man conned the American people yet again. I don't want to go on a super long rant, but it's just very frustrating. America is becoming an oligarchy, becoming a fascist country, a dictatorship. The environmental damage that is going to happen makes me very uncomfortable and not confident in America and the world's ability to fight climate change. The amount of damage that he has already done and is going to do in his term is just substantial. I just think very substantial. If you didn't see it, during Trump's inauguration, Elon did the Nazi salute. He is a Nazi supporter. Um, Very recently, former Trump White House advisor Steve Bannon at a conservative convention also did the Nazi salute. So, yeah, if you don't think that Trump and the Republican Party are becoming fascist, why are they doing Nazi salutes? That's a question you should ask yourself. And I don't have any sympathy to Trump supporters who voted for him. I hope those people are the first people to lose their jobs. I hope Trump supporters are the first people to feel all of the negative consequences that are going to happen in this country because a lot of people made the right decision and voted for Kamala, but even more people were stupid and decided to vote for a convicted criminal that was going to face he probably was going to face jail time for he was facing four different trials at one point, federal and state, and was convicted on 34 counts and was probably going to go to jail, but then got reelected president, and so they had to drop the case because the Supreme Court gave basically full immunity to someone who's president. Disgusting. In other news, the U.S. already has left the Paris Climate Agreement, the World Health Organization, and the UN Human Rights Council. Yep, you heard that right. The U.S. has left the Paris Climate Agreement. I'm saying this twice because it's ridiculous. The World Health Organization and the United Nations Human Rights Council. Okay? Trump has been in office for 1 month, and we have already gotten out of all of those things. By the way, the United Nations Human Rights Council, Israel got out of that too. Why do you think Israel got out of the United Nations Human Rights Council? Because do you think it's because they committed human rights violations? Do you think that might have been a part of it, and the U.S. supported that with funding that? I'm not for. I wasn't for Biden supporting Israel and giving them weapons to use on Palestinians. Are they the U.S. and the Israel were both responsible for that? That wasn't a just war. And of course, they both left the Human Rights Council because they don't want to face any consequences for that. Speaking of the Israel-Palestinian conflict, they did end the conflict. They did agree to a truce. I believe the Trump administration had a role in that, but it was during the Biden administration that happened. There's still the parts of the ceasefire deal that are going on with exchanging prisoners and stuff like that, but there has been a ceasefire, thankfully. Trump also, he was talking about fixing the economy and all this stuff. He was saying he was going to fix the economy on day one. You can look at his tweets if you don't believe me. Has the economy gotten better, Trump supporters? Has the economy gotten better for everyday Americans? Has grocery prices gotten cheaper? I don't think so. I think with the bird flu, egg prices have gone up, actually. So I'm curious to see the Trump supporters talking about lower grocery and lower prices. Um, I'll get back. I want you guys to get back to me on that. Let me know when the economy gets better, and that's the reason why a criminal should be a president again, right? Also, what Trump prioritized instead of the economy on day one was renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, because that's priority number one. It's renaming it Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. And not only that, he restricted NPR, a famous news network that's known for being pretty moderate compared to most news networks. They got restricted access to the White House because they did not want to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. That is how you make an authoritarian state. You come up with stupid reasons why to restrict press, to restrict free press, free media, free access of information. And he also was restricting not only NPR but other popular and reputable news sources for right wing, ultra right wing networks that he was giving priority to. So that's not worrying at all. He also wanted Canada to be the 51st state, which is ridiculous and won't happen. He wanted to purchase Greenland. Also, if you're not worried enough about what's going on in this country, let's worry a little more because the White House, actual White House account, again, you can look this up. It's on social media. The White House account posted Trump as a king, and Trump also tweeted about it, calling himself a king. So, to all those people that were talking about Trump not wanting to be a dictator and respecting democracy, and Trump wasn't going to be a problem, what do you have to say for yourselves now? We're a month into his 4-year presidency, and he's already calling himself a king, and the White House is calling him a king. Yeah, yeah, he's not a problem though. No, not at all. Also, the White House came out with a video that was very dehumanizing and very much Trump-like, where it was an ASMR video of deporting illegal immigrants. Yeah, if you want to know what that is, because it doesn't seem to make sense on the surface, it's a video of it was a video of like handcuffs and hearing the sounds of immigrants being deported and making it like some, like they weren't even people. It was disgusting, but that's what you can expect from Trump, right? He doesn't care much for human rights. So let's see. Yes, we still. Oh, the tariffs. Oh, this is fun. So, the Trump was talking about bettering the economy, And he wanted to do that by causing a global trade war, not only with China, but with our own allies, which makes sense for obvious reasons, right? You want to cause rifts with all of our allies so that we won't have any. That's smart. Um, so he was going to tariff Mexico and Canada, two of our closest trading partners and allies, 25%. Then he paused that because he realized how stupid he was for a second. Um, and he tried to frame it as, oh, they're helping with the border, but they were already doing those things before. So he just gave up on that because he realized that it wasn't popular with people. But he did put 10% tariffs on China. So yeah, that's really smart. Um, and then China, of course, retaliated with their own set of tariffs because that's what countries do. And they also said they'd challenge the tariffs at the World Trade Organization, which they have every right to do and should do. And let's see, the Trump was saying that the European Union would be his next tariff target, which is really a great idea, honestly. Just go after Europe. Like they're not our biggest allies as well. I'm sorry for all the sarcasm, but I just am struggling to deal with all this to actually see all the damage that was going on and be like, I told you so. Like a lot of Americans are feeling, they're like, I told you so. Look at what would happen if Trump got elected again. But there's a lot of stupid Americans. All the MAGA people, all the die-hard MAGA people, they're the ones that should be deported from this country because they're the most anti-American, anti-patriotic people you'll ever find on the planet. They're the dumbest people in the world. They think that a billionaire really cares about them. With all of the crimes and all of the horrible things Trump has done, they will still bend the knee to him. Disgusting. All hypocrites and disgusting people. Those are the same people that hated Obama and hated anyone who supported Obama, and we're calling them, a bunch of fanatics, right? But they're all cult members. They're all part of the Trump cult, MAGA cult. Um, anyways, so Trump is negotiating the Russia-Ukraine war without Ukraine. Yes, you heard that right. Trump is negotiating the Russia-Ukraine war without Ukraine. They're trying to negotiate with Russia. Surprise, surprise, Trump is buddy-buddy with Putin again, and not wanting Ukraine or Europe to be involved. And not only that, because that would be bad enough, right? He also called Ukrainian President Zelensky a dictator and said that Ukraine started the war, which is Russian talking points. So Trump is now buddy buddy with our greatest enemy, Russia, and negotiating on another country's behalf and without Europe's um, input, even though Europe should be a lot more involved, right? Because they're the ones that have to deal with Russia a lot more than we do. Um, whew, yeah. Trump is also wanting a mass migration of illegal immigrants. Shouldn't be a surprise, but he's actually working on getting it done. He's using ICE to find people to deport nationwide. Trump's cabinet is the worst ever assembled. That should be of no surprise. The first term, he had some decent people, but then he fired all of them because they were decent people and he wasn't. But this time, he's like, why would I hire decent people at all? I'm going to hire the dumbest people in every single position. And since the House and Senate is controlled by Republicans, especially the Senate, being more important with the Senate confirming his horrible cabinet, and they realistically are the dumbest people on planet Earth. Um, oh yeah, also he Trump announced plans to send 30,000 migrants to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, where international law doesn't apply, and to make it worse than it already is, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem declined to say if women and children would be held there. So it's like concentration camps for illegal immigrants. Fun. Yeah, that's not human rights violations at all. And I'm sure all those Trump supporters love to hear it because they hate anyone who doesn't look like them. If you know, you know. So the Senate confirmed fracking CEO Chris Wright to lead the Energy Department. Yep. I'll read that again for you. The Senate confirmed fracking CEO guy who is known for fracking, to lead the energy department. And now we get to Elon Musk, the most diabolical supervillain planet Earth has ever seen. You know, the guy who cameoed in an Iron Man movie and people were trying to claim as some freaking hero. I initially liked him when he created Tesla and was touting electric cars. And then I saw what a piece of shit he is. And that was before he bought Twitter. That was before I found out that he's against Jewish people as, a despicable fucking person. And then now Trump is giving him the keys to our government because he gave Trump $250 million on the election trail. Um, Bought his way into power, and now is the head of the Department of Government Efficiency. And he was supposed to head that. He was supposed to co-head that with the Republican Vivi Swaney, but then he left before the Trump administration started, and now Elon is the solo head of the Department of Government Efficiency, and he has a substantial, like almost unlimited amount of power because Trump is an idiot and he's being used as a pawn by Elon. Yep. So Elon wants to shut down U.S. aid with Trump support. That organization responsible for giving civilian foreign aid, and also new Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Yep, that's our new Secretary of State. Good old Marco Rubio said he was acting administrator of USAID, which is not good, and which was a long-standing body that was gave foreign aid spending to the poor and did a lot of good things. But Trump paused foreign aid spending, and people were outside protesting the fall of USAID, and some Democrats said they challenged Trump administration's efforts on that. Two senior USAID security officials were put on administrative leave after refusing DOJ access to the agency. By the way, Elon has access to your financial information because Trump granted him access to the U.S. Treasury. Why does he want your information? Why do you think? Why does some rich billionaire who's gaining more and more money corruptly while serving in this position, why would he want information, your financial information? Maybe to become more corrupt and to find out more so how he can make more money. Um, you know, they talk about shutting down and restricting these agencies for government waste, but they do a lot of waste spending themselves. I saw Trump already spent $10 million with his golf trips. He spent $20 million in taxpayer money when he flew himself and other Republican cronies to the Super Bowl, only to leave during halftime and not stay the whole Super Bowl. And also went to the, I think it was the Daytona 500. He went to that. So he's doing everything besides being president. He's got a lot of free time. That there, I don't know if this happened yet, but there were reports that Trump may soon sign an executive order directing Education Secretary to dismantle the Department of Education. Yeah, he wants to dismantle the Department of Education. Fox News host Pete Hegseth, who did serve in the military, but he didn't have a high rank, now is confirmed as a Secretary of Defense. He was so unqualified that there were many veterans I saw that came onto social media criticizing him, saying he has no clear qualifications to lead the Pentagon, yet he got confirmed because the Republicans are a bunch of spineless cowards. RFK Jr., yes, the guy who got half of his brain eaten out by a worm and is anti-vax, got confirmed to lead the Department of Health. Yeah, you think you can think of the worst cabinet in history, and this triples it. Not doubles it, triples it. Um, he's not only talked down vaccines and created a clothing company that to wear for adults and children about being anti-vaccine, but was not able to deny the link between vaccines and autism. Also, Russian spy Tulsi Gabbard, yep, she's a Russian spy, became the director of national intelligence, and the Senate just confirmed, I believe yesterday, Kash Patel for FBI director, the guy who criticized FBI investigations of Trump and January 6 rioters, and a very staunch Trump loyalist, is now leading the FBI. Okay? Companies are backing out of DEI initiatives after Trump attacked them and did an executive order to restrict them. Target, Walmart, and McDonald's are three major companies that backed away from their DEI initiatives. So I recommend you to stay away from them. I am. I am not going to go. I used to go to Target a decent amount. Will not be going to Target anytime soon. Will not be going to Walmart. Won't be going to McDonald's either. Costco, very famously, I think is like the main company that people think of that stood up for DEI initiatives. There was a shareholder for Costco that was trying to talk about evaluating it, and the vast majority, I think it was like 99% of stockholders in Costco voted to keep them. Ben and Jerry's is still speaking on social issues like climate change, and they had a post even talking about how America was entering an oligarchy. So please support Costco, Ben and Jerry's, and other companies that have not given in to the right wing fascism. The Senate adopted $340 billion budget. That was last night, and now it's passed to the House to see what they do with it. It's probably going to get amended and probably go back and forth. But that budget that was passed by the Senate is passed to help Trump's plan of immigration enforcement, energy production, and military. It had 33 amendments voted on in 10 hours. And I think it was passed at like 5 in the morning, which is insane. In sports news, the Dallas Mavericks initiated and traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, which was one of the worst trades of all time. Anthony Davis, by the way, got hurt in his first game as a Dallas Maverick. Meanwhile, Luka's doing pretty good for the Lakers, and if they can sign him to a long-term contract, will be one of the biggest steals in NBA history. Also, the U.S. just had the Four Nations hockey tournament with U.S., Canada, Finland, and Sweden. And Trump weighed in talking about how he wanted the U.S. to win because, of course, he has to give his input. So it became very competitive, very much seen, especially with tensions rising with Canada and U.S. because of Trump. Um, Also, Canadians have been booing the U.S. anthem lately in sporting events, and they did at this Four Nations tournament because of what Trump was doing and trying to stoke a trade war for no reason. Um, so, yeah, Canada won last night the championship against the U.S. They deserved it, and Austin Matthews choked. Um, Also, FBI Director Brian Driscoll, I guess now he was acting at the time, so now former FBI Director Brian Driscoll refused a Justice Department order that he assist in firings of agents involved in January 6 riot cases. Um, Syria's de facto leader Ahmed al-Shara abolished the constitution and declared himself president. And also, Trump was trying to fire folks that were involved with the nuclear codes and then decided not to fire them. The Pentagon was talking about firing thousands of civilians and then paused that to determine how that would affect the military readiness. The Trump administration just fired thousands of people from the IRS in the middle of tax season. So get ready for tax loopholes that the elite are going to use because they're not going to have enough workers to take in all the tax information and watch out for the loopholes probably. And yeah, so that's all the information. It's pretty doom and gloom right now. But thankfully, there are politicians on the Democratic side that are speaking up. There are a couple Republicans that have half of a backbone. The rest of them are all spineless cowards. And Elon is currently destroying our government thanks to Trump, and Trump is going to destroy everything if we do not speak up about it. I'd give our democracy a 33% chance of surviving the next 4 years. Checks and balances are not working very much. The courts are, but the problem is Trump's cronies that he put in the Supreme Court. If the like trying to end birthright citizenship, that's been blocked by the courts. Pausing federal aid, that's been blocked by the courts. But the problem is, if it gets to the Supreme Court, they might rule in Trump's favor, and then that's not a good check and balance. The Republicans control the House and Senate currently, and that's not a good check and balance because, like I said, they're all spineless idiots um, because it's Republican controlled. And yeah, so that's the news I have for you. I hope for better news in the future. Just got to speak out, do everything we can to mobilize and protect the environment, protect the issues that you care about. Just being on the right side of history during these fascist times in America. But yeah, I hope you all are doing as well as you can be during this time, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.